Okay, let's get started then with today's webinar, which is using FME to automate almost anything. My name is Mary O'Brien. I'm a consultant here in the FME division at One Spatial, and I'm going to be hosting today's webinar. Apologies. So just to start with a little background on ourselves here at One Spatial, we're a spatial solutions provider, and we have offices across the globe with our headquarters here in the UK in Cambridge. We work with customers within a number of key industry sectors, so utilities, transport and engineering, and all levels of government. And we have a number of technology partners that we work with, and the one we're interested in here today is our partnership with Safe Software. They're the producers of the FME family of products. And actually we've been working with and reselling FME for quite a while now. We provide support for all of the FME products, so FME Desktop, FME Server and FME Cloud. And we also incorporate FME into our own software solutions. We have a team of skilled FME people, many of them certified with SAFE, so we can help you with pretty much any FME related questions or problems you might have. And FME at onespatial.com, that's the best email really to get in touch with us on. We provide a number of services around FME, so if you're new to the product and you're thinking, oh, this looks kind of interesting, this might be really useful for me, then get in touch with us. We can help you with that production evaluation or help you with building a business case. We also provide training to help get you up and running with FME. And if you need more help, then we can offer some one-to-one mentoring time, or we can simply build a solution for you as part of a consultancy engagement. So there's lots of options to suit pretty much every scenario. If you're interested or you're having any problems getting started with FME, or maybe getting the most from your FME workflows, then please do get in touch with us. It's FME at onespatial.com, and I'm pretty sure we can help. And finally, if you're on an active AMC with us, so annual maintenance contract, then you are entitled to upgrades of the software each year as they're released. And you've also got access to our support team, so lots of expertise there to draw upon. So as I said, contact us on FME at onespatial.com with any questions that you have. So here's the plan for today's webinar. Like others in this series, it's going to be a tutorial style, so I'll be breaking out into FME to show you how you can achieve automation with your data processing. So we're going to start with our FME Workspace. That's where we define the workflow that's going to do the automation. And then we're going to look at ways that we can automate that in FME Desktop, and then automating using FME Server. And we'll also throw in some customer examples that some customers have kindly shared with us. And I'm going to finish off by pointing you to some resources that can help you, hopefully, with your journey to automate your data processing. So let's start with an FME Workspace. That's the basis really of all of our automation. It defines the workflow for processing our data. And there are various reasons and methods why you might need to build a workspace in FME. And these are some common ones I'm sure that we can all identify with. First off, we've got the quick and dirty approach. So you just need to get the data to wherever it's needed fast, and it's a one-off request. And from experience, it's usually needed to be done yesterday, but it's a one-off. We never keep it. Once it's done, it's gone from our to-do list, really. Another scenario, let's say we're working as part of a big project, and we build a workspace as part of that to facilitate that project. So, for example, a data migration task. We might need to get the data from the old system to the new system that project is using, and we need to run that workspace over and over for a few weeks, let's say. But once the project's complete, then we're done and we walk away. Or in other cases, our workspace, it's a script for processing data that we use repeatedly. So the workspace needs to run over and over for the foreseeable future. So for example, that could be, managing your 6 weekly refresh of a With Master Map, or generating monthly reports for your management team, or capturing and processing files submitted by contractors. Lots of examples and scenarios that we're all familiar with in our own working days. But this scenario is a big part of why people buy FME, because it's an automation tool. So let's break out to FME. I've got it open here, and I've got a simple workspace here that I've built previously. So you can take a look at our Transform webinar if you need to know how to build a workspace. It basically pulls some data from the Forestry Commission Open Data Portal, whatever's live at the time. It does some processing and then loads it to a data store. So in this case, it's a file geodatabase. So I'm just going to run the workspace, and it's going to do its job. And our translation log runs and tells us that it's completed successfully. So let's pretend that that data refreshes weekly, and I could wake up every Monday morning, open up FME and run my workspace, and the job's done. But what if God forbid, I sleep in, or I'm off sick? We still need the latest data available in our systems. So let's automate the task of running the workspace, and then hopefully I can crawl back under the duvet for another 5 minutes. So to do that, let's take a look at the translation log, and if we scroll up to the top, we've got the command line to run it. So every workspace has this. So you can use this to automate any of your workspaces, but just to note that it's only available in the workbench interface here. It's not recorded in the physical log file that gets stored next to your workspace file, just so you're aware. So it's simply saying run the FME engine, then run this workspace that I've defined using these values for my published parameters. And published parameters are things that we can configure in the workspace. Again, other webinars cover that. So let's copy this into Notepad. And then I just need to remember to remove any white space. So we need to get rid of any of these extra carriage returns, and essentially we're looking for the entire script to be on just one line. So I'm going to copy that to my clipboard. I'm then going to go and open my command line. Oops, it's open up over here. Just drag that over, and I can right click to paste that in. Hit return, and it's gone off, started up FME, and it's now running that workspace for me. So you can see it's reading files, and it's now complete, it's done. So great, we can automate the whole thing. So let's throw that now into a batch file. So I've got one here that I've generated earlier, but essentially it's just a text file. So I've got, you know, my FME commands in here to run my workspace, and you can have other Windows-based commands in here. You just need to remember, it's basically a text file, and then you just need to remember to rename the file extension to .bat once you're ready. So that enables us to define a whole series of workspaces and other Windows commands that will be run in sequence, and then we simply need to double click on the batch file to run it. So we can see it's running workspace, it's completed, it's now moved on to the next workspace and moved on to the next workspace, and so on. So it's really quite powerful, but we can take it a step further. You can see it's generated logs for each run of that workspace. But yes, as I was saying, we can take this a step further, because we can use Windows Task Scheduler to run that batch file for us. So if I just search for Task Scheduler, and I go to create a new task. So I simply create a new task. I'm going to call it demo. Here I'm going to set the trigger. So I want it to run on a schedule. It's going to start now, and then I want to repeat this, let's say every minute for the next 15 minutes or so. Just need to enable it. I then need to specify the action. So the action is just going to be to start a program, and I need to point it at the thing I want to run, which is that batch file. So that's now ready. It's available there. It's just waiting for the next time to run, which will be in about a minute's time. But we can see we can use many of these, and we can set them up on different schedules. I can set it to when the user is not logged in. Oops, here we go, it's popped up over on my other screen. But yes, it's hit 11:14, so it's running the batch file. There's the first workspace gone through, there's the next workspace gone through, and so on. So really, you know, using just your FME desktop license and your Windows tools, you can achieve quite a lot. So if I just pop back to my slides for a minute. So we've looked at the command line, running it as a batch file, and then finally using Windows Task Scheduler. And that's what the guys at Angus Council have done. They use FME Workspaces to process their data, and then they use Windows Task Scheduler to manage it all. So some examples, downloading social work files from a cloud, book it monthly, and then they notify the responsible officers with the new files. It's all managed within an FME Workspace. They use an FME Workspace to manage their service desk. So a task runs every 15 minutes to grab the data from the service database, geocode the customer addresses, and then load the data to PostGIS, so it can be displayed in leaflet maps in their service desk application. Another process runs weekly to refresh the data on the council's web GIS so that users are always looking at the latest information. They've got lots of examples. These are just a few that they've shared with us. So thank you to Ross and his team. I guess some key transformers that they use that might be of interest for you are things like the HTTP caller, and that's really useful for connecting to data sources on the web or with an API. The workspace runner transformer, that's really useful for stringing together multiple workspaces for processing your data, and doing that all within FME desktop. And let's not forget, of course, the emailer transformer. So that gives you the ability to send emails, so basically notify users as part of your workflow, your workspace in FME desktop. And what they've done is great. It really demonstrates, I think, some of the automations possible with just your Windows machine and an FME desktop license. And that really works really well for some people, but for some others, using Task Scheduler is just not resilient enough. And of course, you'll need your IT team on board to grant you the permissions to enable it. And actually, if they're going to give you that level of control, then it's likely they'll allow you to manage a server instead and support you in running FME Server on it. So FME Server is an enterprise level automation tool. It's essentially a whole set of FME engines to process your data and then the management and administration of that. But it's got things like fault-tolerant architecture, it's scalable, you can control access and security. So it's a tool for enterprise level automation. So let's go take a look at some of the automation options in FME Server. So I'm going to take this workspace that I had earlier and just publish it to my FME server. And now I'll swap over to my FME server here. And I'm going to set that workspace up to run on a schedule. So I've got one set up here already, which is this one. So this is, first of all, I'm going to enable it. So we've got different options, but we're going to repeat this on an interval. So we're going to repeat it every minute. I'm going to ask that to start immediately, so to start now. And then I'm simply choosing my workspace that I've just uploaded. And here the input parameters that I've published. So I'm just going to set that running. You can see it's now started and enabled. And that's going to, every minute, run that workspace. So if I go and look at the jobs, I can see that here it's just set that running. And in another minute, the next one will come up, but you can see here I was doing a run through earlier. Every minute it will set that workspace running. So that's running on a schedule, setting jobs up on a schedule. We've got some more advanced options, which I'll show you just down here at the bottom. So you click into this and you can set up timings and a queue, so you can manage which engines are used for the job that you're scheduled. So you might have a queue for long jobs that take a long time, and a queue for short, quick jobs, so that you've always got an engine available for processing those small jobs. or you might assign jobs to a queue, so a particular engine, for processing your Esri jobs, for example, as they need to use an Esri license. And you can also manage who gets notified, if your scheduled jobs run successfully or not. So some more options for you to explore. So just back to the slides again, just to share with you some real world examples from customers. Heathborough Council, they're using scheduled jobs running on FME Cloud. So this is a hosted FME server sitting in the cloud, and that helps them process some of their data. So for example, they've an FME Workspace running every 15 minutes that updates and refreshes their live parking web map. Another runs every 30 minutes to gather flood data from the Environment Agency river gauges. And all their jobs, run on a schedule. The data updates. It's all automated. It's all hands-free. Another example, this time for an electricity trenching project in the North Sea. And here a scheduled job runs every 2 minutes to capture vessel information from marinetraffic.com's API. Excuse me. So the latest data vessel location is always displayed, and then it stores an archive in a Google Fusion table, so that the history. So that's a process that ran every 2 minutes for 3.5 years without any edits. It just works. Okay, so thankfully it didn't crash out at this key point, because this is the new and exciting part that helps you with automations in FME Server. So it's new since last year, so in FME 2019, and it's the automations, but it's allowing you to orchestrate your automation workflow within FME Server. So you can orchestrate which workspaces you run, how you run them, when you run them, who you notify, and so on. And it's using all the original, let's say, event management stuff that was in there, so triggers and notifications, topics, and it just bundles it all up and gives you a really nice user interface that allows you to define a workflow for that automation. So it's a lot easier than it used to be, and I'd really recommend that you take a second look at it if you haven't done so in a while. Okay, so over to FME Server, and let's go and look at an automation that I've. Let me just stop this a second. Oops. An automation that I've set up for today's demo. So, just created an automation here. It's using a directory watch as the trigger. Double click on it, you can see the settings. Just need to stop it. Let's do that again so we can see the settings. I'm using a directory watch as a trigger, but you've got lots of options in here. It could be triggered on a schedule, like we've just been looking at. It could be triggered based on an email that's received, or a queue message from an Amazon queue, something like that. So lots and lots of options. And my automation here is defining just a simple data validation process. So when files appear in my folder, it's going to run a series of workspaces in a particular order. So it's firstly going to validate the file name, and if it's happy with the file name, then it's going to pass it on to look at the structure, and then if that's all good, it's finally at that point going to check the actual file contents. So it's giving me this staged or controlled approach to how I want to achieve my overall goal. So I'm just going to start that automation. So it's now running, it's now effectively polling that folder every minute and looking for data. And you don't, while you see an interface here that looks sort of like a workspace, we don't actually see flow of data through here. The way to monitor this is to look in the log file. So I'm just going to pop the log file up here, and then I'm going to swap over to add some data. So I'll keep that log file open, and I'm going to upload some data that I've prepared already. So I'm going to choose this one that I know has got some bad schema, just an Excel file. It's uploaded into the folder that's being watched. So I'd now expect in the next minute or so, depending on what time I actually dropped the folder in, I'd expect this log file to jump into action. Oops, there it goes. That was quick. And you can see that it's run the first workspace to check the file name. It was happy with that, so it passed it on to the next stage in the process, which was checking the file structure. Wasn't happy with the file structure, so at that point it failed, so it hasn't continued, and then it sent me an email notifying me of the issue. So, you know, really powerful automation here, and a lot easier to manage than it was previously. Yeah, and as I said, automations are new for FME 2019, and it has been improved again for FME 2020. It's, you know, improving all the time. It's really powerful, and if you've used the event management in older versions of FME Server, I'm sure you'll agree it's a huge leap forward, much easier to implement and also maintain. So please do take a look and you know, watch this space, because it is improving all the time. So just back to my slides. Well, yes, in fact, what I'm going to say is watch, you know, the FME Hub space. So FME Hub is a space where new technologies are released, whether they're transformers, custom transformers, workspaces, and so on. But packages, which is the new way of packaging these up and releasing new and improved enhancements in a more timely fashion without having to wait for the next release of the standard software. So packages are becoming available, like this one that I came across yesterday, this Azure monitor, and it's a pre-built automation. So you can download this, install it, and use it. You know, if you're working in Azure and you're wanting to monitor, so collect, analyze, and act on any telemetry information from your cloud environment. So as I said, yeah, keep an eye on FME Hub. I expect there'll be more like this up there very soon. And that kind of brings us to the end of today's webinar, really. So these are just some resources I wanted to share with you, specifically relating to automation, whether that be automating with schedules or automating with the new automation technology itself. There's webinars from SAFE around this new functionality. You've got lots of articles. I particularly draw your attention to this one, which is a series of tutorials that will help get you started with automations and talk you through how to get set up with it. And then of course you've got the standard documentation, which is always really useful to fall back on when you're looking to implement it. And there's loads more resources available from the web. I've picked out just ones specifically around automation, but anything else that you're looking to find out about FME, then the FME community is a really good place to go. There's lots of articles, examples, demos, forums. If you're looking to get started with some examples, then search for tutorial, and you'll get lots of examples returned for you to try for free. If you want to get in touch with us for support with any questions that you might have, it's support@onespatial.com, and that's for those of you that are on active FME maintenance with us. So that gets you in touch with a bunch of people here that manage the support desk, and we're always happy to hear from you. And yes, I guess any other questions, feel free to pop them in the chat, or contact me directly. So my contact details are up there on screen, or the generic email that will catch a whole bunch of us, as I said, if I'm still under the covers on a Monday morning, is fme@onespatial.com.